Today, we will discuss the similarities between Fisher's transaction approach and Cambridge cash balance approach. The details of these two approaches have already been uploaded by me. Topic today is the similarities. How we consider that both of these topics are similar to each other. Firstly, number 1 point, they are similar equations. No doubt, there has been the approach is different in both the articles, but even in Fisher's and in Cambridge, we can conclude that they are almost similar equations. See, in Fisher's context, Fisher mentions MV is PT. Now, if we calculate V, we get PT divided by M. And here in Robertson equation, he says M is the product of K, P and T. You calculate K, it is M upon PT. So, this is M upon PT and this terminology is PT upon M. So V is equal to 1 upon K and K is equal to 1 upon V. So we conclude that V and K, they are reciprocal to each other. So whatever this term is being used in Fisher's equation or in Robertson equation in the Cambridge approach, V and K, they have used it by different alphabets, but they are reciprocal to each other. In a way, they are connected. These equations are almost similar. Now, what is V? The term V which he is using, what is V? V refers to the rate of spending. How much people spend. The transactions, we refer it to the transactions. The rate of spending is called V. And what is K? K in this equation, it refers to the extent of holding, not spending. How much money they hold for transaction and precautionary motives. People don't spend whole money, they hold it back. This is emphasized in the Cambridge approach and the rate of spending is emphasized in the Fisher's approach. This V and this K, with their definitions explained, and with the formula, we come to a conclusion that V and K are reciprocal to each other. By substituting 1 upon V for K and by substituting 1 upon K for V, we can reconcile the two equations. So here we find the similarity. In a way, they are similar. You can reconcile it. The terminology used is also linked to each other, and of course, these V and K, they are reciprocal to each other as we just saw. So when people want to hold more, that is higher the K, hold more, right? Because K is what? The rate of holding, extent of holding. When they will hold more money and they will spend less money, that means higher is the K. They want to spend less. Obviously, the spending is less. What is spending? Spending is V. So higher the K, lower the V. So here we see that both the approaches, they are related, they can be reconciled, and the equations are just similar equations. Next point. Second number is the same conclusion. Now, if we study them deeply, we infer that they almost give the same conclusion. Both approaches give us this conclusion that price level depends upon money supply and the value of money depends on money supply. See, they both of them are of the same opinion that price level is also linked to, depends upon. Money supply is the thing which is controlling the price level and money supply is the thing which is controlling the value of money. So ultimately this is the main landmark which is controlling our price level and the value of money. This is the same thing which are given in the same, both the schools of thought hold this view that money supply is main the thing. So in Fisher's we have MV is equal to PT. So see, this M and this P is here, and in this Cambridge also we say M is a product of K, P and Y. See, P and M again they are correlated. So there is direct and proportionate relationship between money supply and price level. We can very well see here. From here we can conclude, and from here as well we can conclude that there is direct relation and there is proportionate relation between money supply M and price level P. And at the same time there is inverse proportionate relationship but money supply and the value of money, which is very natural, that price level and money supply, they are reciprocal to each other. So if money supply is directly proportional to price level, it is understood that money supply will be inversely proportional for the value of money. If money supply is doubled, price level is also doubled and the value of money is halved. Again, in both the schools of thought, they come to the same conclusion that price level dependent on money supply and value of money also depends on money supply. One is directly proportional and the other is inversely proportional. Money supply doubled, price level also doubled, and when money supply is doubled, value of money is half. Next point. Same phenomena of money. Again, both the schools of thought deal with almost the same phenomena of money. How is that? We'll study here. MV plus M dash V dash of the Fisher's equation and M of Robertson's equation, M of Pigou's equation and N of Keynes equation. That is all mean the same thing, total supply of money. So our whole thesis is just dependent on total money supply. So again, this is a very common similarity between Fisher's and Cambridge. Next point comes that V and K, as we discussed in the first slide, this V and K, they are the two sides of the same phenomena. They are also more or less the same thing. See, the Fisher's approach considers money as a stock, while Cambridge approach considers money as a flow. The two approaches are not fundamentally different. They represent the two sides of the same phenomena. The same phenomena has been discussed in a little bit different tone by both the schools of thought, but ultimately, if we deeply study them, we come to the conclusion that this V and K, V used in Fisher's approach and K used in this Cambridge approach, they are two sides of the same phenomena. Here we come to the end of the article. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Do let me know if you have any views. Do comment in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay blessed.